Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to our last agency video podcast session. Now, today's overview, we are going to go over some social media presence and your branding. Halfway through the session, we will be introducing you our guest speaker. The importance of social media. I want you guys to really understand that social media gives you a platform to showcase your talents and your image. In the commercial and print world, social media is like an extension of your resume. Many casting directors will request Instagram handles as a part of your submissions. So if you're doing any print work, some projects will base their decision solely on booking off from your social media and your online presence. A lack of online presence through social media greatly hinders your ability to generate awareness for your brand and even get noticed by casting directors. Despite this intensity of the statement that I'm about to make, it rings true. It is possible to be an actor with no social media, but having a social media presence can help you stand out in the casting world. Now, casting goes through thousands of submissions every single day. So your social media can be that one thing that will make you stand out and book the job. Another note from a casting director I wanted to share with you guys. Social media is so important. When an actor comes across my plate, I've never heard of them. The first thing I do is I Google them for sure. I Google you, I go on Facebook, type in their names, and see what I can learn about them from there. And then I look them up on Twitter. I look them up on Instagram, and I use everything I can to learn about them. Now, social media is like what sells you. So I see you way more online than I ever see you in person. So that online presence is important today. How social media can impact you. Having a large social media following and online presence can help you with bookings. We're not saying that social media powers will outweigh any acting or talent that you have, but what it can do for you is that it gives you a slight advantage. Now remember that booking someone with a large social media following will help you reduce financial risk from the production company. Now I'm gonna have Amanda to take it over about what to post on your social media.
Hi guys, so some things you want to consider when posting for your social media is going to be, what is your vision or your strategy? What is the thing that you want the audience to think about when they come across your social media, and how do you want to be perceived? We're going to be talking a little bit more about personal branding a little bit later on in this session, but it's just something to think about when creating that brand is how you want to showcase that message through your social media and what you want that message to be. For example, if you are all about health and wellness, then that should be very clearly seen on your social media. When someone logs on, they know, okay, this person is going to give me what I want about health and wellness. Make sure that your photos are quality and that the content is also quality. Think about it as like an extension of your resume, an extension of your LA casting profile, your Breakdown Express profile. Casting directors or clients are going to see this, and you want to make sure that it is up to par with everything that you would have on like a professional channel or a professional profile. Next, make sure you always have variety in what you post, because having someone join you in your social media is the easy part. Having someone stay is the hard part. By having variety and a combination of both photos and videos, and making sure that if you are posting a lot of photos, that the composition is different and the color patterns are different, and the message that you send for each photo has a unique spin on your overall message, so that you can keep your audience engaged. And even though social media can seem like a place that is designed to only direct attention to yourself, remember it's also important to interact with your audience or your followers. Interacting, creating a true social platform will really help engage people and make them want to stay in following you on social media. It is also good to remember to not overdo it with self-promotion. People don't really like it when someone is always talking about me, 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 and that's the only thing that they can post on their social media. So have a variety. You can always self-promote. It is a great place to do so when it is called for. And maybe when you have like a really big project, an exciting announcement, then of course self-promote. But the other, majority of the time, you want to think about what message do you want to send into the world, and maybe use your platform to send out that message, or even better, to promote somebody else's work. Maybe you have a friend who just booked a job, or you have another friend whose movie just made it into a film festival. Those exciting things that can create a sense of community within your social media page, those are the things that are going to really help build your platform, and then have followers want to stay and interact with you. And remember to try to stay away from saying anything that's negative. You want it to be kind of a positive space, and an open-ended space as well, to like foster conversation. You don't want to be too closed off in terms of your social media. Some major platforms that I'm pretty sure everybody here already has, but we're just going to mention them: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. All of these things are great. One thing I would suggest is that if you do want to still have these social media platforms for your personal use, for friends and family, for them to see your personal life, then to create 2 separate profiles so that you can filter out the things that perhaps you don't want public. So if you have an Instagram and it's your only one account, but it's a private account, then that isn't really going to help you, because it has to be public for casting directors to be able to see it. So it might be beneficial to have 2 different ones so you can cater and plan out what you want for your professional profile that you're going to show into the world. And remember, especially for commercial castings, they are requesting Instagram handles so often, and a lot of times they won't accept submissions unless they have an Instagram handle. And if your Instagram is private, then of course you won't be considered for that job, because they won't be able to see what you can offer through your social media. And now I'm going to bring it back to Kim, and she's going to talk about personal branding.
Yeah, so I'm sure from last week's session, you guys were able to take away from style and personal branding. So I hope you guys are going to continue to utilize that tool and that test so that you can actually start creating these contents. And now that there's just so much materials out there, hope you want to be able to continue on, right? The personal branding is how you promote yourself. It's also a culmination of your skills and your experience and the personality that shapes how the audience perceives you. Why is personal branding so important? It is so important because it helps explain who you are to a wider audience just simply through your photos. If casting directors are looking you up online, then they want a clear view of who you are, what you look like currently, and what you stand for, and what message you are sending out into the world to see, and if it fits into the job or the role that they're currently working on. Actors who understand their brands are the busiest working actors. And this is stated from former Vice President, Casting Directors from HBO, Amy Jo Berman. Now remember, when we talked about style and personality, your true character last week, this is where it all ties in, okay? Use your top 3 characters to help build your personal brand. Ask yourself, how can I create a personal brand that cohesively will tie in with my character traits? Now that you have everything you need regarding your personal brands, and especially from last week's session, you can start creating this with everyone through your persona and showcase your persona. Examples of some celebrities that we want to be able to just tie in, and who has a strong personal brand presence. Awkwafina and Ali Wong, for an example. Comedians, they both say what is on their mind. They're funny, they're strong, independent Asian American women that is in the entertainment industry. Ali Wong, for an example, she's not afraid to talk about uncomfortable topics and is very outspoken. Awkwafina, she brings comedy and wit, right? Now, Jackie Chan, another example. What is the first thing you think of when someone says Jackie Chan? To me, I personally think crazy stunts. He's funny, he's a comedian, and he's constantly spreading positiveness through his high energy in every single interview he has. This is his personal brand and how the audience perceived him. He's also a great philanthropist that's always giving back to the community, and I love him. He's one of my favorite actors. Now, how to create your own brand. First, by tapping into some resources that's out there. Managing your social media doesn't mean that, oh my God, that means I need to always be on my phone and like posting content every single day. There are great tools and also platforms out there. Some of my favorites are Hootsuite, MailChimp, and Cinderbo. I personally use Hootsuite to manage our social media postings. And it's free to sign up, and you can actually have 3 accounts to manage at one time. It schedules your posts, and it will automatically post for you on the scheduled date and time. Posting should be consistent every single day, and reply back to every message and comments so that you can stay connected to your audience. We do want to be able to share just some useful time and some really great time, and it's more effective of when to post your social media, right? Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, the most effective time is always going to be Wednesdays and Thursday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, anywhere from 12 to 2 p.m. The most ineffective time is going to be on the weekends, especially on Saturdays, anytime after 9 p.m. or 5 p.m. Why? Because that's the time that everybody is out, probably, going on with their own social life, right? So those are, hoping that would be some helpful tips. Now I am going to turn it over to Amanda so she can introduce us to our guest speaker today.
Hi guys. So yeah, we are excited to introduce Julie Plate McMinn. Thank you for joining us today. With more than 15 years of experience, Julie is an all-around marketing, branding, and PR professional. She moved to New York City in 2005 to start her communications career and began as a marketing and advertising assistant at Niche Media. After being introduced to Bethany Frankel, she became her right hand and handled everything from scheduling to marketing to product launches to building the Skinny Girl brand. In 2012, Julie left New York to go home to Pittsburgh. For 3 years, she embraced corporate advertising and public relations at Mark USA. In 2015, she left the corporate world to create her own business, JMP Branding and Consulting, where she works with influencers and small businesses to build strong brand foundations. Her newest project, The Solid Brand Sessions, is a partnership effort with Goss Boss Photography and Video that focuses on supporting and working with women business owners and leaders on brand development. Thanks for joining us today, Julie.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. I am going to share my screen if I can be allowed to do that.
Yes, of course. I think, Patty, we can...
So thank you guys for having me. So I'll wait while she, I think, unlocks me. But all of Amanda, what you said, and Kim, what you said about branding, and just in this interesting era of now being an actor and being a talent, you're now an influencer as well. People are looking online to what you're doing. I think that, from a standpoint of building your personal brand and why it's important, I have been working probably for the last few years with a musical talent agency, helping their artists develop what is their brand. They are a person, they are a singer, but what does that mean? And why are they different? Because when you go to these casting directors, when you meet with these people, right? You said in the thing, the first thing they do is Google you before they even see you. So they're going to see your online profile. And obviously this isn't something unique to this industry. It's anyone who needs to go get a job that people are Googling, right? That's what's happening. But you're a little bit more, whereas in other jobs, it's a little bit more of a liability what someone's saying out there. In your industry, it can help you, right? It can help you get the job. It can help you see what is see what you are all about. It also can help them see your personality without ever having to meet you. And with what's going on right now, that is even more important for them to be able to break things down without having in-person meetings. Now, the thing about the way that I've been working with these artists, which also translates to all of you, is that you have, when you start building this, and it's not, you don't need to change necessarily what you've already done online or the kind of person you are, but you need to take a step back and you need to look at yourself as if you were a brand. A little bit around my background and how I've worked is, right, I worked with Bethany Frankel, celebrities, a bunch of different marketing people in the early days of influencers when, none of this, you would Google people, but people didn't have huge profiles online, right? That was when B-list celebrities and celebrities started forming these online presences before the days of influencers. Then I started working for an agency. So I saw an advertising agency, and I saw from the other side how working with influencers and actors and creating, things for actual, commercials and things like that, how it was important to make sure that all of those pieces and parts of advertising represented your brand. Then I started my own company where I work on personal branding with a lot of women entrepreneurs, but I still do events and marketing. I kind of do a bunch of different things. But for a while, I was a blogger agent. So in a similar way, I was helping negotiate deals for bloggers. I was helping them put together media kits and pitch themselves. And that was kind of before Instagram started really blowing up. And now, I think that we are where we are about you guys and being entertainers and kind of being able to make a difference and show who you are online. So again, as I mentioned, stepping back and saying what does this even mean? What does branding even mean? By definition, is a marketing practice when a company creates a name, a symbol, or design that's easily identifiable. So that is what Amanda was speaking to, was when you come to your social media or you meet you in person, it needs to be easily identifiable of the kind of person you are. And that is what, that's what we were saying when we're talking about Ali Wong and Jackie Chan. It's and you think of other brands, think of Starbucks, Apple, any brand out there that is successful. You can easily identify that, right? But it's so much more than that. It's more than just your pretty pictures or your logo or how you write your name. It's how people perceive you and your brand. So if you're looking at, you have to look at yourself like not a person in a way when you're doing this exercise that I'm kind of going to talk you through. You have to look at yourself as a marketer, right? Why are you doing this? Why are you creating a brand? It's to drive new business and create sales, which for you means booking work. And increase your awareness as a person. These are the two reasons that marketers do what they do, to drive new business and to create brand awareness. So if we translate that into what you guys are doing, it's to book, and it's to increase your brand awareness online so that when someone searches you, they find you and they want to book you and they see why you're different. And the most important thing that it builds, right, for these people looking to book you, and then the people looking to you to be, this actor or this person, is that it builds loyalty and trust. And that's why brands do this. So there's no difference of why, as a person, as an artist, as a talent, that you shouldn't be aware of this. And I don't, when you bring up an Ali Wong or you bring up a Jackie Chan or any of these other celebrities or actors out there, it is no mistake or a coincidence of who they are. They've built that. And that's what that quote went back to say, is the busiest actors and actresses are those who understand their brand. Mm-hmm. So what does this mean from a personal standpoint? And so what I always do here is I talk about a brand compass. And this is this internal tool that you use yourself, and this activity that I do with clients about figuring out your brand personality and your brand values. Now, I'm going to read you a few of these, one that I actually just did, right? So a brand definition, this girl's name, I'll just say her name was Ryan. Ryan represents positivity. Although challenging at times, life is always better when you're positive. So she's a positive person. So that should shine through. Ryan provides connection to people through her music. So that's showing why she's different as an artist, as a singer. And then another example would be Ryan embraces the joy in life, finding happiness in her own journey and the world around her. She is pure innocence. So this is this core of who you are. So why do you do what you do? Why should someone hire you over someone else? Now, this doesn't mean that her social media says positive, positive, positive. I empower young women. I do all these things. This is the internal compass that leads her. So this is where in this form of self-discovery, when you discover these tools about yourself, that you would then think, well, what does that mean? So I liked, Amanda, your example about like being healthy and a wellness, and that kind of, that's what you're all about. Or maybe you're about partying and having fun. I mean, that's okay, you know, as long as it's responsible. So as long as you're not showing yourself as a liability, so you can be whoever you are, but you just it has to be this strong sense of self, right? Then you kind of do these brand definition statements. Then another thing is using adjectives to describe yourself. Like what are you all about, right? So if a brand, I'm trying to think of a brand like a Starbucks, right? They write your name on a cup. You think it's great. You think you deserve it after a long day. You want to pay $12 for 2 things, but that's very personal. So they're like a customized personal brand. Like that's how they feel. They make you feel personal. So another, you know, this person, right? This Ryan, bright, approachable, and poised, inspirational, joyful. So you could do that with an Ali Wong or an Aquafina or someone like that. You could describe kind of those things. So that's one activity that I do, and that's that internal compass that provides you direction of kind of, is this the right thing for me to have out there? And it covers all of the things that Amanda said, like, you know, what's going on in your personal life, posting about your friends, being supportive, working out, like whatever your thing is. I do think it's possible to have if you want to have an open account that like is really about you, and you know, you don't have a private one. You could do whatever you want. You can have a private one, you cannot have a private one, but I think it's important. This second point here is consistency. In a company, when they develop this internal brand and this internal compass, it's so that everyone else can be consistent about what this brand is, because there's a ton of people working in a company. So for you guys, it's like you would share this with Kim. You would share this and say, here's what I put together about my brand, so that you know this is who I am. So that when someone calls to ask about me, and if I would be a good fit for this, you can bring up some of these things. Yes, she's so positive. Have you seen her social media? It's all about positivity. Oh yeah, she's in very good shape. She exercises all the time. So it's this consistent message, right? So other places that it needs to be consistent, all of your social channels that are public, Facebook, everywhere, Instagram, TikTok, all of this, it should all be very consistent. It should always look like the same person. And then to be quite honest, it should look like the same person in all of your materials that work for you guys from the agency. You know, I think that it's hard when, you know, you haven't had your picture taken. I mean, times are different now, right? But you haven't had your headshots done in 2 years, 3 years, and it's just conflicting. I've done that. I've chosen models before for things, and I've gotten, you know, I have their profile, and that's how our creative director picks something. And then we get like some selfies and this person looks completely different, which is fine. I'm not attacking what someone looks like, but you have to make sure it's consistent, right? That everything's consistent. I'm sure you guys speak to that all the time.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So this is kind of a this versus that. So headshots, those are very important to you guys, but think about it as like, what's your visual story, right? So you have your headshots, you have your profile that you guys have as an agency, but what is your visual story? How are you going to tell that? And that speaks to what Amanda said, making things look all the same. Then you think of like a website for a brand, but let's talk about, what does that look when a website's only as good as the people that come there. Someone comes to your website, and this brings me up, I don't know how you guys do it, but it's something that you said at the beginning, which is so important now, is that I think it's very important in your social media to show if you are a content creator. Because you're saying right now that people are getting hired because of their ability to have different things that they can create. So that if you have a website and you are a content creator, make it a portfolio, or have people have access to what you've created. Because if that's going to help you get a job, like Kim said, like you need to stand out. You need to let people know that you have done these things, that you're good at creating these things, that you have high quality photos that you were able to take yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of that user experience. When someone comes to see you, how easy is it to Google you? People have no attention span. If they cannot find you, it is over.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to build that. Social media, great, but let's think more about all digital touch points, which kind of goes back to what I just said. All those touch points. Think of them as someone Googling you. Think of it as someone just typing in your name. Google yourself. What happens? Type in your own name. Click on all your links. Make sure that all these touch points are connecting. And then I need to move this over because I can't see. Oh, logo. Now that doesn't apply to you guys as much, but when someone has a logo, I always say, think of it, what's your brand story more than just a logo, right? You see an Apple logo, that Apple logo, and that means a lot, that the flashing of all of their products, of all of their ads kind of happen in your head really quickly. So what is your brand story? Like, what is your story? And now I'll kind of open it up for questions and any comments. I had written some notes, some other stuff, so if I think of them, but, of things that you guys said moving through the beginning of the presentation about, being that carefully curating content, Googling yourself, figuring that out, and then the engagement and showing that you're an actual person and that you care about the people that are coming to you.
Does anyone have questions, guys? Because I know we lost like more than half of our audience here.
Yeah.
Did somebody say something? Hello? Well, Julie, I mean, I love everything that you said, and I know that it's so important nowadays that we all need to be able to know like how to develop our personal image and brand. So now, I have questions. Like, let's say, how do they know what is their personal brand? Is that something that we should come to an expert of like branding so that they can know what it is? Because I think a lot of the actors, or personally, I want to say about myself, sometimes I'm confused of like, how do I want to present myself as a brand? Because that's unclear about like what is appropriate and what's not.
I think a good exercise to do there is, I have, I can talk to, Kim and I can talk, and we can maybe put together some kind of package to speak to each of you, like if that be something you're interested in.
Absolutely.
Kind of an hour session. But I think that it comes down to, again, a few things. I know it's very difficult to do and you feel all over the place, but if you remove yourself and you start thinking about perception and what you really care about. And so the activity that I like to do, that I do a lot with the artists, is you go into a room, you're meeting with a cast director, and they say to you, which they probably never would, why do I hire you over the person who was just like you, who sat here 10 minutes ago? What's the difference between you and that person, right? And you have to think of what your response would be. So it's like your own elevator pitch about yourself. Now, I think that it's important that it's okay to say something like, well, you think of like a canned response. Like if you got asked that question and hadn't thought about it, that's why you have to think about it before it happens, right? I'm a really hard worker. I won't disappoint you. I love what I do. I've been wanting to be an actor since I was little. Those are all very like canned responses. You need to figure out why. What is the truth? Why would you be better? I am confident that I am the best person for this job because of my work ethic, because I am a positive person who am able to X, Y, and Z. You have to have thought about it, of why you would be, right? And the other activity that I like to do is so that's kind of ground you in that. That's like your elevator pitch about yourself. So that's like finding the reasons that you love yourself or you think that you're great at your job.
Mhm.
It's like asking someone, why do you pick this brand over that brand? You know, why do you like those pair of jeans? Well, I just like them. They fit better. They, you know, on the other side of it is remembering or thinking, you know, let's pretend you are a super duper actor now. You made it big. You're Ali Wong. You made it big. And someone said, write a letter to your people or to your fans about life and how you feel. And so it's like a very like, I've made it. Like, it's very like, oh, you got an Emmy. Like, what would you say? You know? So then it's like these two ends of you, right? Like if you got really famous and what you would say to people, and then this lower end, which is what you would say just to like elevator pitch yourself. And then write down, based on those two things, adjectives about yourself, things about your personality. I like that one. Positive, joyful, worried about health, loves to work out, loves kids, you know, wants to get married, loves to date, loves to party, you know, and then you can find a happy medium about that. And then another great thing to do is really get like make a vision board. I know it's like so tacky, but like make a mood board or a vision board of like about yourself, but you have to look at yourself like you're not a person. And I think the best way to say that is to start looking at the world a little differently when you walk through it as a marketer, knowing that you have to market yourself, realizing that that's what you've chose in this industry to market yourself, and to look at around you at like, you know, who does things well? What would you say about a brand? You know, what is Lady Gaga's brand? You could write down those certain things, right? You know, people know what she is. I also like to use Taylor Swift as an example because she's changed her brand, but it's stayed kind of the same. So there's those types of activities, but it's not something you can sit down and do in one night about yourself, for sure.
So what's your take on, let's say, Lady Gaga? Because, you know, she presented herself in a very creative, you know, image. And then now she seems very wholesome and girl next door.
Yeah, I think that she has grown with her audience, because it is all about your target. I think that for you, for artists, for talent, you're walking a fine line in that as an up and coming actor, as someone who wants to book, right? You have two targets. You have consumers, but like they don't really know about you. You have your friends or whoever looks at you, but you have your target audience, your primary target until you are Ali Wong, is casting directors.
Absolutely.
Right? So they're the ones looking for you, searching for you. As you build it, if you've decided, or if you already are a digital influencer and you've kind of taken that path, it might be a little bit different. But I think that you have to grow with your target audience, with your audience. So there will be a time where casting directors are probably not Googling actors and actresses that they have booked before or know. Those actors probably, their social media is now more about their fans. So it's like, at what point are your fans your, you know, audience versus the casting directors, and Googling yourself. I'm thinking with this crew right now that it's, you know, it's a lot. It's probably 70% focus on making sure like you're showing who you are and what you can do and the kind of person you are for the casting directors.
Would you say visuals is more important, or what you say is important? You know,
I mean, people's attention span is terrible. So visuals, yeah,
visuals.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
I mean, but I don't think you can like ignore what you're saying. But that really depends on like what is your brand that you've decided. Like, are you a man of many words? Are you more, you know, what that's part of like what you are. Like, do you over talk? You know what I mean? Like, are you very reflective and inspirational, or is it just like me and my homies, you know, in a picture. I don't think that it deters. It just can't be all over the place. But I think why visuals and why what's online is important comes back to what you said at the beginning, Kim, is that now has shifted. People are looking at it from a perspective of what can you do, not like what they can do. Like, can you glam yourself up? Can you take a good picture? No one cared about that 2 months ago. They're like, oh, I'll just pick you. Okay, I pick you. I'm going to control you. But now it's not what's happening. So maybe something has shifted there to be, you need to be a little bit more focused on, and I guess that also means, you know, if you're going to take a nice picture of something else, or if you're going to be involved or promote a brand or a product, just, you have to have some kind of visual representation. That's what I do a lot with my clients in the solid brand sessions. Me and my videographer and photographer, as we work, like, what's that look, you know?
Okay. I think we have a couple of questions here. Any best practices to get a greater following?
Engagement. Hashtags. I'm not a hashtag expert. I don't claim to be, but a lot of people, not me, are using use Instagram as like a Google search almost. I don't do that, but a lot of people do in that explore area. Amanda, maybe you can speak more to this, but a lot of people do that. So it's finding the right hashtags. I don't necessarily think casting directors are like hashtag best actor in LA or like, no one's doing that. But if you want a following, you know, you have to be worthy of following, you know? I think that engagement and putting yourself out there and, you know, talking to other people and making it about what you can give the world. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, it just does take being in that one movie, being in that one commercial. Like, you have to be honest with yourself and not like torture yourself. But
Absolutely.
don't ever buy followers. Don't do it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, any other questions, guys? What does an individual should know if they don't know where to start?
Well, start at the beginning. Start writing. I know not everyone's a good writer, but start writing about yourself. Start looking into the world of like other brands that you appreciate or other actors or actresses that you like, and really saying, well, what is their brand? Or what are they known for? And then thinking, what do I want to be known for? It's like it's almost you have to go on some type of journey of self-discovery. And I think that if you've never thought about it before, it makes it harder to fix it later.
Got it. Great answer. Okay, last one is how to create a consistent voice or message.
Yeah.
Something that, like, in times that they would just figure it out, or is that something that we should seek an expert such as yourself?
Well, I mean, listen, this is how I make my living. So, but yeah, I think that I think, again, I talked about those two things, the compass and the consistency, and the being consistent about what you are saying and doing. I think that if you decide, I think that if you take a look at what's going on your social right now, or at you as a person right now, that you could probably grab a little bit from this is my voice. Or when we say voice or messages, it comes back to that positive, joyful. Are you a partier? Are you love to work out? Like, you know, someone who is, you know, all about health and wellness probably isn't like gonna show themselves in like a not healthy light. I don't know, like they're like stuffing French fries down their face. I don't know, like, not that either is bad. I'm 9 months pregnant, so I'm stuffing French fries down my all the time. But like, I think it's like what you choose. Again, you guys are in a unique position because the people that you want to impress first and foremost is the person Googling you. And most likely the person Googling you is a casting director, or is the intern who the guy said, go find out about this person online, see if they're going to be a liability to me. I don't even want to meet with them. I don't even want to meet with them. My husband recruits, he's a lacrosse coach. He recruits players. They email him. First thing he does, exactly what you said, is a different thing. He Googles them. And he's like, I can't have someone who, he's like, if their Twitter is out of control, or if they're like, he can tell that they're entitled, or they think that, you know, this is why I still find it so hard to understand or believe when, you know, these reality television stars, like, people dive back into 6 years and there's these bad stuff back there. Like, who didn't do their job? Or was it purposely oversighted so that we could blow it up later? You know what I mean? So it's you always want to make sure that you want to know that they already know who you are. Just the same way that you would do the same thing. I'm sure you guys Googled me when I emailed Patty, you know, who is this person?
You got it, for sure.
So
you're saying,
kind of like
who is your target audience? Why is your public image is important? And of course it's important, you want to put it out there, but for us, for all of our actors and our models here at our agency, their main purpose is obviously to book the job, right? So
right. And I think it's
towards that.
Yeah. And I think it's okay to, so that's a really good point, Kim, because I think it's okay to say, I love being an actor. I love being an actress, but my ultimate passion is to teach people about the importance of exercise and being healthy. And I want to use my platform as an actor and actress. I've wanted to be one since I was little, but I have found that now that I'm growing in this world, I am very intrigued with all, you know, health and wellness. And I work with a lot of gyms, and I go in there and I shoot videos. That's why I'm different, because I know what it feels like to be passionate about something. And I can, just the same way that I'm passionate about health and wellness, and I'm passionate about, you know, working out, I will come into this job, and that's why you should choose me. So I've pivoted from like it's okay. You're allowed to want to, let's say you were an actress and you just love makeup. And like, you want to be like a makeup YouTube person and you want to do makeup tutorials. I do not think that is bad. It's okay, because that's part of you. And that's what social media has allowed us to do, is to be ourselves and to see, wow, oh, she's an actress, but she also, oh my God, look at how good she is at makeup. And she's doing this friend's makeup. This is really cool. And she's worked with brands before for makeup. Okay. This girl knows what it's like. So it's okay to be a few things if that's important to you. If you just want to be like an actress or an actor, that's what it should come across. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Because this really ties into our commercial and print, and they're looking for real people with real experience. So that really ties into authenticity of your social media brand. If you claim that you are a professor, or you are a fitness coach, or you can hike, then they're looking for experts. So on your social media pages, you should be showcasing all of the day-to-day things that you do, because that means to you, that matters to you. And it boils back down to, they always ask me your social media, and that is the reason why, because those skill sets that we list about you guys, about why you are such a great person for this role, is because you have real relatable experience to that brand. And that and on your social media should reflect all of those skill sets that you are claiming that you have those skills in. So yeah, thank you, Julie. I think that really ties in everything, especially with commercial bookings. It's all about that. That's the one thing they ask for is, what do you do at the day-to-day? What are some expert skills that you have you can share with us? And I want to see photos. I want to see photos or videos before you even go in to casting. So they would actually request us to send some, you know, if they claim that they are a skateboarder. Yeah, so for sure. That really ties
because you're competing with them. And this is the last thing I'll say. You're competing with all these influencers out there that don't want to be actors and actresses, but they might go after, because they're just saying, I want someone who has a large following and is a skateboarder. I don't care if they've ever been in a commercial.
Yep, you got it, for sure. And they're booking just solely off of that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there, guys, is there any other questions? Any last words? Any other things we want to ask Julie? You guys can probably type in your group chat messages through there. Amanda, was there anything else?
I think that is it, unless anybody has any last minute questions. I think.
Oh, I do. There was a couple more questions. Julie, so what are your thoughts about creating, them creating their own content and affiliating themselves to promote other brands and products?
I think that that's fine. I mean, that's what's going on social media. Why not? If you have the following, just be part of it. Just be aware that, there might be exclusivity. Like, it's unfortunate, but it's just life. But make sure you're getting paid somehow.
For sure. Okay,
make sure you sign a contract somehow. Protect yourself. But yeah, I don't think that it hurts to align yourself with brands.
So is it good to have someone else manage your social media only, or do you also have to learn how to be involved?
Listen, you were the steward of your own brand. You were technically your own business owner. You're getting paid for your services. I always think that it's a really good idea to know how to do things, learn them yourself, and then pass them off to someone that you trust. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be a micromanager if you're just like, oh, I'm over this. Yeah, I think it's important you can absolutely hire people. It's the same thing of hiring people to do your accounting or to do your taxes, but you have to trust them. And I think that you have to have some knowledge of what they're doing. And this is something that you would develop along with them, this brand definition. What does this look like? How are you engaging? I think it just really depends on your situation. I don't think you should be right away spending. I think there's more important things to spend money on right away, right? Mm-hmm. I think that it's important to have a really good portfolio website. It's important to buy your own name as a domain if you can. It's mm-hmm. very important to do all those things and spend money on those things first. It's important to have an accountant, taxes. Those are all very important things before I'd go spend money on paying someone $1,000 a month to run your social.
Mm-hmm. So when do they know that it's time to actually start outsourcing or start going towards an expert? Because nowadays it's so important. It does go hand side by side.
I mean, if you have the monetary ability to do it and you're feeling overwhelmed, like this is too much for me, but I would never let someone take the reins without checking their work and really trusting them.
Okay. Unless it was your sister,
or someone, but still you guys probably preach this to the choir. You got to have, don't try to cut corners. You got to have a contract in place. You just do my social for me. That's not good. Mm-hmm. You have to make sure that they're understanding your brand voice, understand who you are, would call you if there was something weird that you saw. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think that when you start to get busier and bigger, mm-hmm. but I like when I think you should be always aware of what's going on.
Okay. You got it. No, I know. I know that even at our agency and a lot of our talents, I think it's definitely important. So we are very interested in learning more about what are the different type of services and packages that you feel like artists should definitely have. Because I know a lot of times the talents, they ask when is it a good time? What is a good range? Because there's so many different price range out there that I don't even know what is that worth it? Because everything is so important nowadays, and they do want to be in control, but they don't know where to start, and there's and when is it a good time to invest into those, so I love to definitely see.
I like to say the most important thing is having a plan.
Yeah, having a plan for sure.
Having a plan and a strategy. You can't start from the end. You can't say, okay, there has to be a plan. And so that is what I do. I work with people to make plans. That's what those brand definitions are. That's what the brand values are, is setting up your internal compass. That's a plan.
Mhm.
You know, what are your priorities for the next 3 months? That's part of a plan. You
Got
always
it.
have to have a plan, or like in 3 months, you're like, what have I done? You have nothing to compare it against. And I encourage you to look at what you're doing as a true business, as you are the brand, you are the business, and you have to treat it like that. If that's what you want, it's all up to what you want, but if that's what you want.
Yep, you got it. Yeah, no, thank you so much. Amanda, is there anything else? Or maybe we can probably wrap it up. And Julie, of course, after this, we love to definitely, I love to personally talk to you one-on-one to see how we
Yeah.
can, proceed with like next steps with that. Amanda, maybe you can take over, or Julie, is there
Yeah, I'm
anything
gonna
else
have
you
to
want
hop because
to-
it's 7:15 here on the East Coast.
Okay,
So my kids are knocking at the door, destroying things.
okay. So thank
Okay.
you so much, Julie. Amanda, you want to just wrap
Today,
it up?
Julie.
Okay, bye.
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 Thank you, Julie.
Cool. So just to wrap everything up, if everyone is good with questions, if you guys still have questions, like for me or Kim, feel free to just unmute yourself and ask the question. But if not, then I can just wrap it up for today, which is going to be our last session. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Sorry we had that really weird interruption, and I know we lost a few people, but this is all going to be recorded. As always, I'm going to be sending out a recap tomorrow. We'll have a link to it on YouTube. So anyone who wasn't here can watch it, and anyone who is here can watch it again for fun. And we really hope that these past 6 sessions have been really helpful and can help you in your career, from self-tapes to learning about your style, learning about your character, and now kind of bring it all together with social media and branding, which I feel like right now, especially right now, it's so important because everyone's at home just scrolling on Instagram or on Facebook because there's nothing else to do. So it's a great time to invest in your image online. So I know Kim mentioned it at the beginning, but just to reiterate, I know California is planning on extending the stay-at-home order for another 3 months, and because of that, the agency hours are going to be adjusted. We are still going to be able to answer your guys' emails and any questions that you guys have, but if you have anything urgent, feel free to email us, and we'll be able to get back to you. It might not be on the same day, but we will be sure to get back to you. So if you have any questions, still feel free to shoot us an email. I hope you guys stay safe and healthy. And
And then before we end, I do want to be able to add, because I know we had a lot of questions regarding self-submissions from our previous video. As Amanda mentioned, that our hours will be reduced moving forward, but through self-submissions, there's a lot of projects out there now. You guys don't need to forward it over to us so that we can self-submit or check anymore, only because doing with the current situation right now, go ahead and self-submit. But as soon as when you guys book any projects, or if you have any questions regarding an auditions, then feel free to send it over to us, and we'll be more than happy to review them. But of course, as soon as when you receive any booking, it's important before you accept any booking, forward it over, or you can reply back to that casting director and say, hey, I'm super excited to accept this booking, but I would like to loop in my agency onto this email and loop all of us in onto this email so they can prepare for next steps. I'm super excited and I can't wait until blah, 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 But that should always be done at the initial stage, because before you accept any bookings, that is like accepting the terms already without not even knowing what they are, right? So that's important. Don't loop us in from the beginning before you even say anything. So let us review it, and then we go from there. But and that's pretty much it. So I wanted to kind of just quickly update everybody, and I hope everyone would be staying safe and healthy, and I can't wait to see everybody again soon. I really miss you all, and enjoy the rest of your week. Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.